Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. It is time to jingle bell rock. My name is Paul, your host, joined by Adam Camilleri.
Good day, everybody. Currently slightly
It is
translucent.
slightly translucent, yeah.
He is the ghost of Christmas
Yes.
future.
Yes.
Ooh.
Ghost of Meta's future.
I
yes.
like
Yeah.
it. Beautiful.
Oh, that's actually
Dustin
sick.
Brand.
Henshaw.
Hello. I'm just here. I guess I'm
Yeah.
past. You must be present because you're just right there, clear as day, Paul.
Yeah, Paul is the present.
Hope everyone is doing all right. Hope y'all look. We missed last week's show, and this week's show is going to be short as well. It may not be a surprise. There aren't really any big events this weekend that we were able to spot. So, but it was more important to come and hang out and chat with everybody. We do this live at 9 p.m. Eastern. We did not get last week, unfortunately. Schedules bumped in, but we did not want to miss another week. As you can see, the signals are all over the place. We got the Force Ghost, Adam Camilleri, and the mogul Dustin Henshaw, and of course, me here wanting to hang out and chat. So KR says, "Surprise! If this is real, it is real." Hey,
Surprise.
Steve, good to see you. Look, last week, and there's also knowing that the meta is probably going to be real thin this week, and then Nurgle
Yeah.
Matt in the chat. Welcome everyone. Hope you're all having a great holiday season.
Yeah, suffice to say, of course, it'd been the week before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas. There wasn't really any large GTs happening this weekend. There was a couple of little RTTs. But despite that, we wanted to put on a show because lovingly we didn't get a show in last week. So we're going to be talking about it's going to be spicy out there. The next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely wild. We're getting the last couple of Grotmas detachments dropping. What do we have today? We had Sisters yesterday. Or was that today? No, Sisters today.
Sisters was today, yes.
Yeah. And did they say what we're getting tomorrow?
I didn't look. What's left?
I don't look either.
I'm gonna look.
just to
I'm gonna look
really-
right now. What's tomorrow? I'm doing it.
I thought it might be up your alley there, Paul. I thought it might be the Blood Angels.
It must be,
Oh,
right?
I just kind of wait, anticipate.
Yeah,
with
it's Blood
everybody
Angels
else.
tomorrow. Come on, Paul. How'd you not know that?
Well, I mean, I'm
How did you not know that?
well.
Well, now you're gonna be excited for tomorrow morning, right? I know
You
on
know what
Wednesday
it
I
is.
was like refreshing 7 o'clock. Like, come on.
I'm
come on.
incredibly excited for it. Let's just say, I think people are going to dig it. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm
because it's
actually
Blood Angels, why wouldn't you?
I'm actually interested to know what Dustin thinks about the GSC one because I've heard the whole gamut spectrum of opinions on that one, ranging from "this is horrible, will never get played" to "oh wow, Gargoyles plus GSC sounds good."
That's funny because Gargoyles is one of the things I feel like GSC doesn't need. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong.
Like I said, full spectrum.
But you want if
Look at
you
this.
want my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. I have always been a Forces of the Hive mind player. So to give me the opportunity to do it, yeah, it's limited to only Vanguard, but that's okay. Because you know what's Vanguard? Some of the best lone ops in the game.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Lictors, Neurolictors,
Yeah.
Death Leaper.
Yep.
Like, honestly, just throw a couple of those in for some action monkeys and buff the rest of your GSC, and you're good to go. I'm very happy with that detachment. I think it has
Me too.
massive potential, but it's going to be very hard to unlock, and that's why I'm excited about it. And I love that a lot of people hate it. I always love that.
well, these Grotmas detachments, we talk about this a little bit on another show, I think, this week, is that they're just another way to kind of really use some of your models.
Yeah.
And some of them, especially if you
Unlock
are
some of them.
playing, frequently and you have a wide collection, you've been playing for a long time, these Grotmas is it really is a gift is just another way to enjoy something else in your collection.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. And so far that has held pretty true. There's very few armies from Grotmas that have come out and told people to play exactly the things they were already playing. Like, especially when I think about Votan, Death Guard, and Sisters, where they've got almost attachment predicated on you taking this unit to get the most, being Sacrosanct, Hearthguard, and essentially Death Shroud.
And we gotta, we talk about the meta being, not really happening this weekend because, of course, the holiday, but people are preparing for like the Las Vegas Open. People are getting ready for this mega giant tournament towards the beginning of next year, already looking at 2025. And it seems like Necrons might be hot.
Necrons are going to be hot. I have a weird prediction on Necrons. I think your first instinct when you see that Necrons detachment is to just slap down as much death killing as you can. As in, like, here's 3 DDAs, Silent King, Doomstalkers, Annihilation Barges,
Well,
and
even like
1 or 2 units of Heavy
the
Destroyers.
destroyers, yeah, like jumping
Yeah.
around.
The issue then is that you play someone just like rolling around with their bog standard AdMech list, and you just lose the game by 20 points because you don't score enough. Whereas, you kill everything you can see every turn, but they're scoring every card every turn. So surely you get close to tabling them by the end, but they're on 90 points, you're on 70 points. And so that's the issue I find, and I think people are going to find with that detachment, trying to find the balance between the damage output and the utility units.
Yeah. I think it is fun to try to spam what can do all the rules, what gets all the rules.
Yes. Well, the game is in such a good place. You don't need all the rules all the time. If you just had, and so the thing is, I don't love Doomsday arcs. For me, they're a bit too casino-ish. I'd actually go heavier into the destroyers, like Silent King, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 1 DDA, maybe 1 or 2 of the Doomstalkers as well, which I do not mind. The 5-up Overwatch is actually kind of cute as well. And then I'd go heavier into destroyers, especially on some of the tables you may see at certain events, especially on WTC boards. I think it's a lot better.
Agree. You could even, if you had just like lots of little destroyer types running around, like you could like really benefit from it. I completely agree with that.
And they all pop off, like they can all like pop, like reach up damage wise. And so even if you have smaller units, you put enough buffs on them, they'll do just fine.
Well, that's one of the things too with all the detachments and a lot of the armies that with actually putting in your lists doesn't always have to completely synergize with the entire detachment. Like, look at the old school Endless Swarm list. People were bringing just the hordes because they're good, but only because they wanted to bring them back constantly. And then the rest of the list was just monsters that do damage. Like, that's the only thing that they didn't benefit that much from other ones. I saw some of those lists that just had 2 bricks of 20 gargoyles to keep recycling, and the rest of it was just an invasion fleet list. And that was still good because it's another. At the time, I think it was only 160 points for a 20-man gargoyle unit, but they keep recycling it, and that was the whole benefit of the detachment. They didn't get any other buffs, but that was enough.
Yep, correct.
Got some great comments in the chat here saying, excited about the Custodes detachment. Max Wolf saying, had that new Custodes take out the World Eaters this past weekend. So
nice.
I'm glad people are playing with the Grotman stuff. They've been, but then we thought, like, this is not exactly as powerful as the index detachment. Well, I don't think that's what they're for, but it's kind of like a happy coincidence.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
Well, I hope that what these do is give you, because my vast majority of the time, so many of the index detachments have been buffed and tweaked over the past 12 months. I mean, the perfect example is the Votan one. There's nothing that they can bring out in one detachment without buffs or tweaks or anything else. That's going to be as good as LOL. Your 4 burst things +1 hit +1 for my entire army. Like, because that's been a multitude of different buffs and increments to get them to that place.
Yeah.
So they can't just like, here's a little something detachment and think that it's going to compare to that.
Well, it's ironic with the sister one too. When you look at the sister one, the new one is now using more miracle dice right after they got nerfed in the amount of miracle dice they get.
Correct.
So to your point, Adam, I think I think I saw a comment from Warhammer Official on their Facebook page that these will eventually make their way into the app.
Yes.
And so when they make their way into the app, you have to assume that maybe they'll be, worked into the cycle of reviews and data slates and balances and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I have no prior knowledge of that. Just if they're in the app, you would stand to reason that they're going to be used for a while and probably get some attention.
It is definitely annoying for me right now because I have to make 2 separate lists for my one list because I have Tyranids and GSC, and I can't do that in one list right now because that's not a thing. Never has been a thing in this edition.
Soon.
Well, I've got an interesting little segment we can do just for a couple of minutes because we are coming into the end of the ITC season, and I'd love a chance to tell you guys what the top 10 of the ITC looks like.
Okay.
And then give you my little anecdotes on who's been playing what.
Anecdotes. All right, I like anecdotes. I like Adam anecdotes. Let's go.
So in first place right now, we have Inez Wilson, who I do believe is attending the LVO because he intends to win the ITC. He is on 1,445 points, and he is in first place, having won the majority of the last portion of this season, playing GSC pretty much exclusively. So he's doing extremely well. I'm very keen and very hopeful that he'll bring GSC in its new incarnation to the LVO, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's a lot of models to get continent away.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it's actually very true. But
I'll send him down if he needs them.
Nice.
He's been so prolific this year. He's played WTC. He's played in a bunch of Heartland Europe teams events all over Europe, all over the world. In next place, we have Josh Roberts, who has almost created identity for himself as the MSU trading guy. So he will take whatever faction he feels like playing. Most of the first half of the season, I think, was on Necrons. He was.
Oh, this is a longer
Well,
pause than. Oh no, we lost
yep.
it completely.
He finally
I
faded
thought
out.
it
He
was a
melted.
pause. The
Yeah,
future is not now.
It was theorized that it is summertime. Well, that's not a theory. It is summertime in Australia.
It was theorized that it was summertime in Australia. Right
It
now.
might be.
It might be summer. I've heard.
The globe is allegedly round, and it is much wintertime over here, but he's finally melted away. Maybe we'll get back in. Hopefully he does, because I like where he was going with that, with the top 10 of the ITC. As you know, we kind of focus on ITC players, the top ranked ITC players, when we're talking about events, because they are the ones that are winning the most often. And whether we believe it or not, these folks that are being the vanguards and pioneers of some of these lists work their way into what the factions or majorities of things start to be, and that kind of shapes what the faction podium is. And think of the excitement that we've had this last 4 or 5 months, to where the faction podiums have been crowded with factions, all with viable lists.
It's true. That's true.
So now it becomes even more important to look at the pilot themselves, and some of these names, like Inez, like he was mentioning, and the ones we're going to mention, hopefully when he works his way back in, are pilots that have consistently performed extremely well, even throughout this, evened out, unsolved meta.
Yeah, and it's going to be even more unsolved for LVO with all this new stuff coming out, right? Because I'm assuming it's going to be legal for LVO with all these detachments. So that's like completely breaking open the meta. But a lot of these guys, they might not even consider these new ones because there's not enough time to test it. They won't feel confident enough. Or, like, actually, this is some juice that I could bring that people won't know how to counter, won't know how to deal with. And I'm going to get enough games that I'll feel confident enough, and I can bring this to LVO and really, break some heads. Break some heads of your...
It's that detached. So you look at the combination, and I will say that, we've had with this design template of this edition, is you've got the detachment rule, you've got the relics, the enhancements. I know we're not supposed to call them relics anymore, but the enhancements, and then you got that packet of stratagems, and seeing how, if there's things in there that you think are really going to give you that competitive advantage, are what. I think people are right now haven't figured out how to completely compare it to the codex and index stratagems that are out there.
That's true too. And it's also important to keep in mind that these top 10 that we're looking at right now, they're within 50 points of each other. So LVO could absolutely just...
You get to LVO. Well, LVO, it's a giant tournament.
Yeah.
And you can win multiple things there. It's like you can win, of course, high rank position, get points, best of positions, in factions and everything else. Like, there's a lot of points to be had at the LVO, and it is thought of as like the defining event. Like, you won't win, and this is possible for you to win, but a lot of people think that you won't win a faction or a best award if you don't go to the Las Vegas Open.
Which, because of how large it is, it's a fair thing to think. There's a lot of massive events, but LVO being when it is, like, being the last big event or last event in general in the season, and being as big as it is with the amount of points that it's worth, it's not impossible. There was
it's very possible.
There was one year I think Manny almost had it without. We could have done it without going to LVO. Still did.
Just get the points out of Europe. I mean, exactly. There are hotbeds where
the London Open is another one that's like the LVO in terms of how many points you can bring. Right. So if you go to one or the other, as long as the rest of your events are really big, then you could definitely do it. While we're waiting for
look at it. It's like the perfect. You have all the perfect information. You can almost math out if it's possible, if it's required for you, or if it's possible for you to win something that you may be shooting for. And that's the benefit of Las Vegas Open, is it's a giant event where you can potentially predict how many points you're going to win
And it's
based on
worth
your
it.
performance. Yeah,
It's
if
going to
it's
be
worth
worth
it
it.
to you.
So while we're waiting for Adam to get back, let's keep going down the top 10 here. Oh, you're back. See, we rifted long enough. We didn't even need to worry about going on without you there. Yeah.
Oh no!
So
Now, what is it this week? That happened. Like we have had some. Like there must be something going around the potosphere.
Meta Chasers Christmas Carol.
Meta Chasers Christmas Carol.
Where was I? I just did Josh Roberts.
Yeah, we were
yeah.
literally just about to continue without you, but we don't need to now. So go ahead.
Josh Roberts in second place with 1,440 points. He is, like I said, known right now as the MSU Good Stuff Trading Army guy. He's been playing either Necrons or Chaos Space Marines, definitely Chaos Space Marines, always with Rubik Marines allied into his Chaos Space Marines. And it's pretty much just good value units in boxes. And he's been doing that perfectly. In third place, you have Kyle Grundy, who runs the Pure Tide program for all those Tau enjoyers out there. He only plays Tau, and it's actually kind of amazing that a literal just Tau specialist is currently number 3 in the world right now. I think that is fantastic. Nassim Fushane, who's been jumping around from a couple of things, mostly playing guard, playing Astra Militar. I know he played them at WTC, pretty good results as well. And so he's going to be in tour. I would be surprised if he did not play guard at LVO also. In fact, I'm not 100% sure he is coming to LVO. Next up, we have Liam VSL, who went back-to-back at the LGT this year. Not only went back-to-back at the LGT, went back-to-back at the LVG Invitational also. He has pretty much won every game he has played this year. The dude is an absolute freak show. And if he was able to travel more or was willing to travel more, would not be surprised if he was actually in first place for his sheer dominance.
Talking
Next
about
up, we have
still the pilot that we have had.
Yes.
You can definitely look at these names as consistent performers.
He's had a career year this year, even increasing on his performance last year, which was pretty much spectacular. He is one of the best players in Europe, and he's the best player in Belgium, 100%. Next up, we have Derek Apshi, who I had the great pleasure of hanging out with a bit at WCW, the Worlds. And he won Nova this year with his Cult Horde. That being Chaos Space Marine cults. And he's just a horde specialist. He loves numerosity, the power of the digits. I have more numbers, more wounds than you can deal with, and I will win this game. And so far, that has put up some incredibly strong results for him as well. And that was the first person on our list. We got to the 6th place before we got somebody who wasn't a European. And in fact, the top 4 are all from England, which not happy about, but here we are. Next up, we have David Gaylard, who does reside in the UK, but is from New Zealand, to represent New Zealand at the WTC this year. He jumps around quite a few factions, but mostly he's made his way this year playing Astra Militarum also, and he's proved to be just one of the most methodical and best players in the world this year. Samuel Pope coming in next, who put up some great results. He won one of the US Opens. Was it Dallas? I believe he won that we commentated on. Yeah, and it was not. It was Swarm, ending Swarm at the time before they copped those nerfs, but definitely put up some incredibly good results, and he is a hive mind specialist as well, so there's one of your people in there.
Oh yeah. I like seeing Sam in there.
Near the
now
top. Wow.
This next gentleman I don't know enough about, unfortunately. Andy Quaz-Cohen. Of course, I'm riffing. This is just my personal knowledge on these players. Andy Quaz-Cohen, I do not know Andy. Does anybody know from whence he hails? I do believe he may be from the California area. I'm just going to open up and see what events he's been to.
That's a good one.
No, he's from the UK. That's
so you should have
right.
guessed that.
He's
the
Necrons guy from the UK, possibly one of the best Necrons players in the world. Coming first at the Sheffield Super Major, gained him the vast majority of his points this year, and then came in 7th at the London GT. So really good results there. And then lastly, we have one of the Chaos Lords himself, TJ Lanigan, coming back to make another run of the ITC. And he's made, of course, TJ, he is a Chaos specialist, and more than that, he's a Thousand Suns specialist.
Especially.
He's been the guy to look at to see how to roll with the punches for Thousand Suns, as they have copped, with the exception of this last balance slate in MFM, they've been nerfed every other one. Yeah. Every other one since the edition started.
Hard to balance all that brain magic,
all that free stuff, all that I'll do what I want-ness in that book. I mean, and see, T-Suns is another one where you look at like their index and you're like, what could they possibly give them that's going to be like this good? Because man, their index is so strong. But anyway, that is your top 10 in the ITC, and I do apologize, but I am going to have to
This is
dip
going to be a
out at this
short
point.
show. I think we're going to have to
And
wrap it up right here for in the interest of time. And this has been a great little run. I think, and a little teaser. Next week we're actually going to have a year interview. I think we're going to look at the meta over
we
the course of
are.
the year. We're going to play a fun little something with us here on the show. We'll see.
Something.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
see
so
how it
next
goes.
week, in lieu of there most likely not being any large events, I'm going to look back and pick one large event from each quarter of the year that was, and talk about what was going on there, what won, what did well, and what changed between quarter to quarter in the state of the game. It should be a very interesting show. I hope you'll join
Yeah.
us.
And this is not the last show we'll do this year, so we got plenty of thanks and stuff to pass out to everybody as we get to wrap this up as the year goes on, as we look towards 2025. Until then, we will see y'all next week, everybody. I hope y'all have a great holiday season. Hit us up in the comments if you're looking forward to using the Grotmus attachments. Have you played anything recently? Let us know how you doing. What are you working on? What are you painting on? Are you getting ready for the next big thing during this break? We want to know about it. Tell us about it. Like, share, subscribe. Dustin, it's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
See y'all.